Bella Ramsey is an actor that I associate really closely with Sydney Sweeney. Okay, just hear me out for a sec, it'll all become very relevant very shortly. They each have one incredibly popular and career-defining TV role under their belt. I've seen Euphoria, and anyone else who has will stand by the opinion that early season Sydney Sweeney,
I have never, ever been happier!
she was pretty good, and the public discourse around some of her more recent roles seems to ignore that fact, although she has, obviously yes, done some other stuff. In the case of Bella Ramsey, unlike Sydney Sweeney, they haven't really had any major roles outside of that one show, with a lot of their current internet abuse stemming from PR bits and bobs. It's all a bit silly to be honest, but hey ho. I haven't seen The Last of Us, that career-defining role, so basically what I'm saying is take everything I say in this video with a pinch of salt, because it brings me very nicely to Sunny Dancer. This is the latest addition to Ramsey's very limited filmography. We follow Ivy, a 17-year-old cancer survivor 10 months into remission who gets sent by her parents to a place called CRF, a quote-unquote chemo camp. Now this follows a pretty standard skeletal formula of teen gets sent to summer camp, hates it at first, then makes lots of friends, and ends up not wanting to leave, with the added element looming over everyone being this subject of cancer. Now, on a messaging level, and in the sense of spreading awareness to different causes and charities, this works a treat. Before the screening starts, the director, George Jacques, I hope that's how you say it, delivers a short message on the charity/trust he represents and what he wanted to do with Sunny Dancer, which I thought was a really nice touch. You don't often see these sorts of introductions in mainstream theatres, in my experience at least. And for a film that I had relatively low expectations for going in, seeing the director actually preface it by talking about the very real motives behind the film dramatically increased my expectations. You know, he's clearly someone who cares, and I was hoping it would rub off on the finished project, and for the most part it did. Ivy's parents are played by James Norton and Jessica Gunning, and let me tell you, I would watch an entire film of just these two. In what limited screen time they had, they most definitely delivered. Like, they both bring such vibes, such chemistry to the screen, and you know, it turns out when Jessica Gunning isn't playing a crazy stalker, she actually seems like a delightful person. But unfortunately, in this family of three, there is a weakest link, and for me, it was very clearly Bella Ramsey. Don't get me wrong, as performances go, it wasn't awful, and in fairness, the script does let them down on many occasions. At the end of the day, this film is a selection of individuals, both cast and crew, in their mid to late 20s, trying to act out, write, and direct dialogue for characters a decade younger than them, and that's a recipe that is nigh on impossible to get right all the time. If there's one thing I hate, okay, it's forced swearing. I cannot hack it, and Ramsey's character falls foul to this over and over and over and over again. Honestly, it is so hard to watch at times.
Fuck this fucking camp and your stupid pedo war. Twat.
Like, it doesn't roll off the tongue, and if it doesn't feel natural for the character to be saying, it really shouldn't be said, to be honest. Not to make any assumptions, you know, I'm sure there were reasons, but I feel as though Ramsey was brought on more for their name as opposed to being the right fit for the character. As I said, I'll say it again, I haven't seen The Last of Us, and word on the street is, Ramsey's pretty good in that. Good enough to be Emmy nominated twice. So I'm not here to pass judgment on their acting ability. What I will say, this was not the film for them. Now at this camp, after a bit of reservation and some back and forth, Ivy finds herself in this group of 6, including Conrad Khan, who you may recognise from County Lines, and Earl Cave, who you may have seen in Simon Bird's directorial debut, Days of the Banggold Summer. Now this supporting lineup of cancer-surviving teens are, as you would expect, really great. And it comes back to, well, chemistry. Sunny Dancer knows how to do chemistry. That's my big takeaway. The blossoming romance between Ivy and her love interest is pretty cute. You know, I'm of the opinion that Bella Ramsey is much more suited to playing the hearty-eyed lovebird as opposed to this rebellious teen that they keep trying to shape their character to be. And while it was all a bit wishy-washy and Disney movie-esque at times, for the most part, it's definitely not. And it goes down some deep paths, which is what you want to see from a loaded coming-of-age story like this. That substance is what separates the Kissing Booths from the Stand By Me's, or the Tall Girls from the Moonrise Kingdoms. This whole group of radically different people all seem like actual people, as opposed to caricatures of different social groups or stereotypes of the illness-ridden child. It's just a charming selection of people whose dynamic is actually enjoyable to watch. And in a film like this, it's good that that dynamic has been nailed, because it all kind of rests on that. For a narrative that deals a lot with loss, both life and identity, as well as isolation, it manages to stay surprisingly heartwarming throughout and is a deceptively pleasant thing to watch. With this being a film about the second leading cause of death in the world, it's inevitable that it goes to some much more somber places, and while I won't spoil anything or give it credit, the whole cast, and I mean the whole cast, are able to pull it off. With all the issues being tackled, done in like a tasteful way that brings light to these real world issues being faced by cancer patients, as opposed to just having grief for the sake of grief. And for a film like this, with the director that it has and the kind of groups it seeks to represent, that tastefulness is really important, and it's good that Sunny Dancer knows what it wants to be. So in sum, it's a wholesome film with some, good values at the centre of it that's unfortunately let down on occasion by what I think was a poor casting call and a poor at times script. I liked the Fred Again song in the credits, and I thought Neil Patrick Harris was class. And that's all I have to say. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.